Good evening to all the participants and the speaker of this session. Today we have great privilege to have Dr. Preeti Bajaj ma'am with us. She is an electronics engineer, graduated in 1991, postgraduate in 1998, and awarded doctorate in electronics engineering in 2004. Having 28 years of experience, and currently she is working as a vice chancellor of Galgotia University since 2019. Prior to this, she was director of GH Raisani College of Engineering in Nagpur. She has also been instrumental to design and development of ITS system in public and private sector like toll collection, toll audit, highway traffic management system, and AITS by applying soft and hybrid computing, intelligent systems, and applications of fuzzy logic in ITS. She is presently engaged into an application of AI in healthcare, vision, agriculture, and intelligent transportation. Her professional society affiliation includes Fellow Institution of Engineers, Fellow IETE, Senior Member of IEEE, Life Member of Computer Society of India, Life Member of IST. She is presently Vice Chair Awards, IEEE, India Council, Member MG Awards, and Recognition Member Committee and Founder Chair of Nagpur Subsection and also on BOG of IEEE and HKN. She is a founder general of ICETET series of 8 IEEE conferences. She has a vast experience in handling autonomous institutions NBA Tier 1 for the NEC. She has brought number of grants under the institutions like TCube 1, TCube 2, AICT Margdarshan, DST Nidhi, TBI in her earlier assignments of GHRC. She has also been recognized as a resource person by the NBA for creating awareness of outcome-based education and assessment, and also is an ex-member of General Council of NBA. She has also visited countries like Singapore, Hong Kong, UK, Japan, Malaysia, Mauritius, and USA, and her efforts have turned 200 projects into the patents, leading to transform a private institution into a ingenious premier engineering and research institute. I heartily welcome you, ma'am, at Bharati Vidyapeeth Institute of Computer Applications and Management. Today, ma'am will discuss on very important topic, that is outcome-based education framework and its different components like PEO, PSO, PO, and the CO. Now, I request ma'am, please take over the session and enlightening us. Ma'am, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Very good afternoon. And at the outset, Professor Huda, thank you for inviting me to be there. And this is a topic which is very close to my heart as well. So OBE and its parameter. Chal for all the coordination and reading out all, the complete CV. So let me connect to the audience. Good afternoon, dear audience. So I'm going to take you through the complete journey of outcome-based education and the various components which are attached to related with the OBE. The OBE framework, will start with vision, mission, and eventually we will derive, PEO, PSO, and in case it is required to design POs for non-engineering program, that also I'll be giving some because new education policy also relates with OBE and also Bloom's taxonomy. So I will touch upon how the PO can be derived if those are not. And then finally, course outcome and how the syllabus can be derived from the course outcome. That would also be part of this workshop. I will try my best, and I would request you, if you have queries, if you can put it in the chat box, will be easy for me to take up those questions subsequently along with my talk as well. And if it is more interactive, that would be great. So this is, if you can see on the screen, basically this is the process flow for the any outcome based education. So there are 4 components which we talked about. One is like OBE. So when we talk about outcome based education, so it's not only about outcome based education, it includes outcome based curriculum, outcome based teaching learning, and outcome based assessment. So how we can design outcome based curriculum, the first thing. Then if it is outcome based teaching learning, so how we can measure whether the students have understood or students have attained course outcome or not. Then finally, how we can assess the program outcome, whether whatever vision and mission we have set for our school or our department, and then for the program, has it been achieved or not. So how we can assess the complete, so outcome based assessment as well. So these are the three. When we talk about OBE, please remember it's not only OBE curriculum, it's not only about teaching learning, it's not only about assessment, but it is together, it is known as outcome based education. Coming to the complete framework. So for outcome based education, you need to start with vision and mission of the institution, or vision and mission of your university if you are in a university system. So vision and mission of the university or public institution, vision and mission of your department, and certain questions may come. The vision and mission has to be for program or it has to be for the department. Then program educational objectives, PEO, and then program outcomes, or program specific outcome, and finally course outcome. So you always will come across these 6 terminologies when you talk about outcome based education. And we'll start with how it is to be done. Vision and mission of the institution. So how it has to be derived. So vision, and the vision is always, if you talk about individual, the definition of vision, so any management or management consultant would say that the vision is always a futuristic statement. And then this statement, it is, since it is about institution or for the university, so it is a bird's eye view, how I wanted to see my institution in future, how I wanted my university or my institution after a couple of years. So that is a futuristic statement, where I want to travel, where I want to see my institution. The picture of the future, where one has to go. So for what is the purpose of the institution? So where I wanted to see myself. So that's the vision of the institution. And it is always in the future tense. Please remember, this is always in future tense. Mission statement. Now, mission is the way how you can accomplish that roadmap. Mission is the way how you can achieve that goal which you have set as a vision. So, mission statement is always in current tense. Please remember, whenever you can, we can see number of vision and mission statement, and then mission you will find always in a current statement, current tense. It means it is applicable all the time. So if vision is to be accomplished within 10 years, if you just for a moment, if you imagine that vision statement would be accomplishing in 8 years, 10 years, then mission is always to be in the current tense. So mission is a statement to define the way, method of accomplishing the vision. It shows focus areas of institution, departments, and which are of the concern and importance and matters too. So this is very, very important in point of view how you can define your vision and mission of the school, of the university, of the institution. How to accomplish the vision and mission. So always define a picture of the institution you want to build. So please imagine, innovation would be your focus area, research would be your focus area, maybe societal upliftment is your area. So where you, what are your USP, what you want, how your institution or your university to be different than others. So if you define that what are my keywords, how I want to see, I want everybody to be innovative, I want everybody to be research oriented, I want everybody to be socially connected. So what is the purpose of your institution? That has to be very clear. So define that picture in terms of vision. Involve every individual, involve stakeholders, arrange the meeting of senior leadership, arrange the middle level management, the bottommost of the pyramid. You have to have the stakeholders meeting quite often. Derive some words, what can be done, what are our USPs, how we can bring the change if it is change management at all. Suppose you are not looking at innovation, but then you want to focus on innovation, what needs to be done, and then can it be a part of your vision? What will happen? Can you change? Are you in a position to change your syllabus and complete, fine tune the whole system in, to bring that ecosystem of the innovation? that thought process has to come up, that what needs to be included, what should be part of vision, involve all stakeholders, then form the teams at all level, as I said, senior management, middle level management, bottom level management, the employee, non-teaching staff, students, your industry associates, your alumina, everybody has to form. The inputs must be taken, and then there's some draft statements should come up, like vision and mission. Seek alignment, define the interim vision, share it with again everyone, again do the lot of brainstorming, and I'm sure it will be, then you can over maybe revision of 8, 10 times, 20 times, you will come up with a good statement which can be to be implemented. The vision and mission statement of the your institution. So vision and mission statement of the department must be in correlation with the institution or vision and mission. So if you are in a department, suppose you are say, an engineering institution, so if you want to go what, I would recommend personally that vision need not to be changed, because every school, if you have 10 department, if they will align theirs with the institution vision, automatically institution vision will be accomplished. So you need not to redefine it with small changes, customization with relation to your department, you can achieve university vision. So vision and mission statement, while when you are deriving for the department, again I am repeating, please don't do many changes in the vision statement, because institution vision is separate and the department vision is altogether different. This will not happen. The department vision must be in line with the whatever is the university vision. And yes, the department mission now, so department mission should be to accomplish the department vision. And if every department would have a different mission in terms of expertise, in terms of achievement, in terms of connectivity, in terms of maybe support system, laboratory, infrastructure, slowly if every department's vision is accomplished, it means university's vision and mission is accomplished. The maybe more focused on department expertise, what of the department has to be there. Now, mission statement, please remember what should be. Many a times I have seen that it is misfit. The mission should have been the vision and the vision should have been the mission. So mission statement must include the faculty role, the focus on the curriculum, connection, maybe your industry tie-ups, center of excellence, research, the connections with the stakeholders, all that has to be part of your mission. So always remember, most of the time I have seen mission to be a vision and vision to be a mission. So that conflict should be avoided. If you have any questions on vision and mission, you can write in the chat box. Again, feedback must be taken, as I have said, for employers and alumni about the skill enhancement, about when they have passed out, what was missing. Faculties and students, parents need to be involved. The department strengths to be analyzed, because the strengths are supposed to be mentioned in the mission statement. You must know what are your department strengths. Brainstorming sessions to be organized at the department level also, again involving all the stakeholders. Ad hoc statement to be formed, and then that can be shared. And for the feedback, the BOS must approve, because we are going for, one is to learn OBE and the other part is to it should be in line with what is expected. So brainstorming must be done, and the board of studies should formally approve. You should fine-tune the statement for the feedback, and the board of studies must approve your vision and mission of the department. So, in nutshell, the university or the institution or department vision must be synced. That's first thing. So, how to derive? Vision is a futuristic statement, always in the futuristic, right in the futuristic way. Mission is always in current tense. So, mission must be in current tense. Mission must address all the strengths of your department. And then university and department vision must be synced. I would recommend department vision need not to be with many changes, and it can be customized to the department. The department mission and university mission also to be synced, and department mission must show the strength of your department in terms of infrastructure, in terms of faculty, in terms of achievement, what you want to, how you want to do, achieve the vision. And if not measures to be taken, to be revised and synced, otherwise university and institution vision cannot be accomplished. So if you feel there are gaps, then it has to be synced and it has to be revised. Any sample, anybody wanted to have inputs on vision and mission, or anybody wanted to ask some questions? I can wait for a minute, and if you can type on the chat box so that we can move from vision mission to maybe next model, which is PEO. And we can open, if the audio is allowed, that is also fine with me. Okay, does the vision includes a short term or immediate vision? I would say when we are talking about, if we are talking about vision, which is a futuristic statement, generally I would say 7 or 8 or 10 years, 7-8 years, we people do not change the vision, and we should not, because it's a futuristic statement. Even if you are taking one major, small major, and that change would, to percolate that change till bottom of the pyramid and to implement and to see its effects, it takes minimum 8 to 10 years. So I won't recommend the vision to be a short term vision. It has to be a long term vision only. But yes, after 8-10 years, you can have always check on whether the institution vision is achieved or not. It has to be in a periodic manner. You can have a system to check whether we are marching towards accomplishing the vision or not. But it cannot be short term at all. Another question by Vishwajit. Ma'am, can we change the vision and mission statement many a times we feel? So again, we cannot change as and when we feel specially. The vision and mission statement cannot be changed as per we feel, because again, it's an outcome based. So if you have defined vision, mission, based on that your PEO would be there, your PSO, your course outcome, all are interrelated. So once you have taken some action, and your curriculum will be based on all this vision and mission to accomplish that. Now if you are frequently changing, it means you are changing frequently your syllabus, everything will go on changing, and that's not possible. So vision and mission statement can be revised, can be edited, but then after some time you need to give that much time, so that whatever you are teaching through curriculum, the students have attained that, and then you can finally check the attainment. So I would recommend not prior to 6 to 8 years at all, and that vision and mission to be there for the institution. Can we reflect a societal and geographical condition of the university in our mission vision as improvement of this? I would say societal and geographical condition is nothing to do with the vision and mission, but what you want to do as a top level management. So as I said, when the promoter would establish the institution, or they will establish the university, that time what they want to do, they want to bring the one institution to be the best in the region. They want to bring the institution to be world class, or maybe a premier institution which is to be known globally. So what is their aim at that particular moment when they are coming up with the university or the institution? That would be reflected in the vision. And for mission, how you will do it? In a day you cannot become a globally competent institution, you cannot be a best in the research. So how you will achieve that? That should be part of mission. So your own vision and your own approach to accomplish that should be reflected in vision and mission. Doesn't matter I'm in a tier 3 city, still I can be innovative. Doesn't matter I'm in a tier 1 city, still I can be socially connected. So it can be either way. So societal and geographical condition need not to be part of vision and mission at all, until unless we want that. So is research a one party? So I have not understood what you want to say, but I would say if in case your approach is to become a research oriented institution that can be in the vision, and how it has to be done would be part of mission. So then we'll move to the we will take up some other questions. If they are, you can write that and I will address in due course of time. Coming to the second part, which is again very important, and that's program educational objective. The program educational objective is basically, it aims at, for what you are, what is the aim of having particular program in your institution. It means the program educational objective, if in simple language, if I have to define, these are the statements which will describe what graduates shall do after couple of years of their graduation, few years of their graduation, like after, and this few years means it can vary from 3 to 5 years. So these are the broad statements that would describe what graduates shall attain within first few years of graduation. So they are going for entrepreneurship, they are going to be to join maybe product based companies, they are good into design, they are good into they are good coders. So which industry they are joining, which segment they are going for higher education, they are joining some research industries, most of them. So what is a train, what they are supposed to do within first 3 years or 5 years of graduation, those statement if I can write down, those are nothing but program educational objective. And it should be always remember, what I've seen in most of the time, the program educational objectives, people do rewrite the program outcome, but no, program outcomes are for program and at the time of graduation what students would attain, wherein the program educational objective is what graduates shall attain after 3 to 5 years of graduation. So it means there is a difference. After graduation, they have been in the field for a couple of years and what they are able to do. So it means it should always, the basic graduate outcomes you are measuring at the time of graduation. Now, what should be measured in terms of after 3 to 5 years? It should be professional and career accomplishment. If you can see the definition on the screen, the program educational objectives are broad statements that describe what graduates are expected to attain within the first few years of graduation. It describes the professional and career accomplishments that the program is preparing graduates to accomplish. Again, I am repeating. It shows, it says the program educational objectives are broad statement that describes what graduates are expected to attain within first few years of graduation. It means 3 to 5 years, and then 3 to 5 years. And then it describes the professional and career accomplishment. It must reflect professional and career accomplishment. You cannot write they should be good into ethics. It must reflect the professional and career accomplishment. It describes the professional and career accomplishment that the program is preparing graduates to accomplish. Whatever is your program, based on that program, why, what was the purpose of that program, why you have started that program, what is the purpose of that program, must reflect, must have some attributes, professional and career accomplishment, that must be mentioned over there. Objectives are based on needs of the program consistencies. It means there must be some expectation from the employer, there must be some expectations from the recruiter, there must be some expectations from the NBA or accrediting bodies, there must be some expectations from the industry associates, industry houses like FICCI, CII in our country. So all these objectives, they must have defined what are the expectations from the graduate, what are the expectations from computer science engineer, what are the expectations from electrical engineer. All those must reflect over there pertaining to your institution. How is your education system and what you want your graduates to do, that must be there. So suppose I'll give you some examples as well. So program educational objective, always remember how it is to be written. So PO the accrediting body also gives the freedom the institution should define. So now the first thing is it it should be, when you are defining PO, it should be based on need of constituents. As I said, constituent could be all stakeholders. They are consistent with the vision and mission of the department. Vision and mission of the department. Mission of the institution, mission of the department. Must reflect the expected achievements of the graduates in first few years. I cannot say he is the graduates of so and so program shall be good into leadership. Probably within 2-3 years they cannot reach to the leadership position. The students' outcomes enable achievement of program educational objective. Please, this sentence is very, very important. It means the student outcome, the program outcome enables achievement of program educational objective. If students have not attained anything at the time of graduation, you cannot expect the PEO to be attained. So it is very, very essential that the students must, the POs must be attained, then and then you can expect PEO to be attained. While framing again the PEO, the stakeholder and faculty members to be the stakeholder and faculty members should participate in framing the PEO. The number of PEO should be manageable. Now I cannot have 8, 12 PEO and all qualities at the time of, after couple of few years of graduation. Everybody cannot have these qualities. So the PEO number to be manageable, and the ideal number I would say 3 to 4, maximum 4, but ideal is 3. You can have maximum 3 PEOs for your program. The number of, so again, the number of PEO should be manageable. It should be achievable. I cannot write non-achievable as a PEO because that's basically the objective of your program. It should be not be too narrow, similar to PO. You cannot write the graduate should have lifelong learning. It cannot be narrow. It cannot be same as POs as well. POs mean to guide the program for continual improvement. To summarize this, it should be always remember what are the attributes, how I can write. If somebody would ask you to derive PO, which we'll see, please remember it should be a broad statement. It cannot be a very, very specific statement. It has to be a broad statement. Second, achievements attainable within 3 to 5 years. It cannot be unmanageable, POs. It must be attainable within 3 to 5 years. It must be measurable. You cannot have the statement wherein you cannot measure it. Not a restatement of the program outcome. You cannot write lifelong learning. You cannot write that they should have good communication skill, because all these are expected to be at the time of graduation. So professional or career competency. So it must indicate professional and career competency, and it should be a small statement. I cannot write long statement with 4 or 5 lines which are difficult to understand. It should be small statement. So again, the PO, broad statement, achievable within 3 to 5 years. It should be measurable. Restatement, it should not be a restatement of program outcome. It should be small statements and must indicate professional and career competency. This is very, very important, dear teachers. I consider you to be all teachers. Now, there is a question. By constituencies, you mean industries, employer? I would say yes, everyone. The employer, the industries, there must be some expectations from the accrediting bodies. So I have shown this screen. This shows who are they. They are all stakeholder. Parents must have some expectations from the graduates, management, alumni, students, VOS, industry associates, industry advisory board, professional society. Faculty may have some expectations, industries, everyone is a part of, is a constituent of your program. So any other question for PEO? Otherwise, we'll go to, I will show you some frame statements as well. But then before we move to that, any specific question for framing the PEO? I will show you some other PEOs as well. Like this screen shows you the PEO, how it has to be developed. So I have already said this. Now some PEO for say electronics engineering. I have come up with engineering, but we can I have PEOs for the professional other programs as well. But if you can see the PEOs for the electronics, so the graduate shall exhibit their professional knowledge in the field of electronics and software areas. The graduates, I am writing graduates. I have not written students. Please write. Please understand that they are no longer students. Many a times I have seen at many places the PEOs have been framed with students, but they are no longer students. You are framing PEOs for the graduates, what they are supposed to do after 3 to 5 years. So I need to write in terms of PEOs always, the graduate shall exhibit. Who shall, and always write shall. So the graduates, it means they must. So the graduate shall exhibit their professional knowledge in the field of electronics and software areas. The graduate shall demonstrate their research skills in multidisciplinary environment and in higher studies. The graduate shall emerge as a potential entrepreneur and contribute to the development of the society. Very general, very general. All three. So it satisfies small statement. It indicates some qualities after the graduation, professional competency in terms of research skills, in terms of professional knowledge, in terms of potential entrepreneur or the development of society, and then they are not restatement of any of the PO. Wherein, if you can see here, now, is it the current PO, correct PO? The first thing is apply technical skills to find out. The graduate shall apply technical skills to find solution of complex problems encountered in modern electronics engineering practice. Now to find out solution of complex problem, this is same as our PO. So this is not correct. So this is not correct. Second, function effectively in the world of rapidly changing technologies in the broad context of electronics engineering and develop the product and technologies in service to mankind. This is you can consider, but again, little long sentence. Satisfy the stakeholders' quality assurance to take up higher studies in electronics and allied areas of engineering and management. Right. Use their skills in ethical and professional manner to contribute to research and development and innovative projects. That is fine, but use their skills in ethics and professional manner is again repetitive. So I would say partially this is correct, partially not. So I've just given examples for electronics and communication. We can go for some other PEOs as well. PEO for civil engineering, information technology. So PEOs for the information technology, again, the educational objectives of the information technology program are designed to produce competent engineers who are ready to contribute effectively to the achievement of information technology causes and to accommodate the needs of the profession. The graduate shall practice information technology in the general disciplines of design, development, and deployment of software and integration of existing technology for e-governance. Please understand there is a difference between the IT and computer science. So what I tried to write down is they will practice information technology in the general disciplines of design, development, and deployment of the software and integrating with existing technology for e-governance. So they have to integrate the technologies, different technologies, whichever are being used. Apply the fundamental technical knowledge and skills to provide workable solution to the problems in the various areas of the IT. pursue higher education, research and development, and deploy creative efforts in the area of information technology. Use the acquired knowledge in societal and environmental manner with professional ethics in a team. So I would say this is not correct, because what they have done is they have used societal, environmental, professional, ethics. All words are being used, and all everything is possible in the program outcome. So program outcomes are nothing but graduates outcome. So graduates attributes, and then it includes all these words. So it cannot be the same. So can you share civil? Yes, I'm coming to every branch. Don't worry. The PO for the civil engineering, it's just again sample. A couple of statements I have framed, and then those are from different colleges. The educational objectives of civil engineering are designed to produce skilled engineers who are ready to contribute effectively to the civil engineering profession and ready to handle the challenges of the profession. The civil engineering department is committed to produce the civil engineers who shall. Now, if you can see, who shall apply fundamental technical knowledge and skills to find creative solutions to the technological challenges and problems in various areas. Shall able to analyze, design, and use skills in order to formulate and solve civil engineering problems. Again, I would say I won't give 100% marks to this, because analyze and design is always, these words are being used otherwise also in the PU program outcome. Shall be able to practice civil engineering as a responsible, professional, and ethical manner, implement eco-friendly, sustainable solutions for the benefit of industry and society. Again, many words are being used in the PO itself. So I would say it is again not foolproof civil engineering PO. To take up higher education, so most of the civil engineering graduates, they go for higher education as well. NICMARC, many other institutions, to engage in the research and development in civil engineering and allied areas of science and technology. So yes, if they want to join within 3 to 5 years, they should take up higher education. They can be involved or engaged in the research and development in the civil engineering and allied areas of science and technology. And they can find out the creative solution. First one is also correct. But I consider these two to be nullified, because these are not correct. Any questions on this? Otherwise, I will go through other as well. Mechanical engineering again. So if I go for mechanical engineering, the educational objectives of the mechanical engineering program is to designed to produce competent engineers who are ready to contribute effectively to the advancement of mechanical engineering and causes, and then to accommodate the needs of the profession. The mechanical engineering department is dedicated to graduating mechanical engineers who shall practice mechanical engineering in general disciplines of design, thermal, manufacturing engineering in industry, and establishments in government and private sector. So mechanical engineers should practice in general disciplines of design, thermal, manufacturing industry, in general, in government and private sector. So I try to cover everything within 3 years of graduation or 5 years of graduation. They will be either in manufacturing industry, thermal, design, or they may be working with the government or the private sectors. Shall be engineering professionals and innovators in core engineering. What are you saying? Shall be engineering professionals and innovators in power engineering, service industries, or pursue higher studies. So either they will be involved as in the job for government sector or private sector, or else they will be innovators in the core engineering industry, or they will be absorbed in the service industry, or they may go for higher studies. So I try to cover all. Whatever students can do, the mechanical engineers can do after 3 or 5 years of graduation. Then shall be competent in the latest technology by exploiting the automation and smart manufacturing tools. Now you can write, everybody can be, to address various industry 4.0 problems. So because as on today, if the mechanical engineer you are producing, he must be good into industry 4.0. So that I have written. Shall leverage their imbibed skills through continuous working on technologies like drone and additive manufacturing knowledge to transform the society, because it is essential that every graduate who is coming out of now from mechanical engineering should be good into these technology which are upcoming technologies. There and then he can withstand, or he can get in good will have a prospects to join the job, or may have his own business as well. These are the all technologies I tried to cover over here while writing the PO. Some other shall apply fundamental technical knowledge and skills to find out workable solution to technological challenges and problems in various areas. So when he is mechanical engineer is graduating, he should able to apply fundamental technical knowledge and skills to find out the workable solution. He shall pursue advanced education, research and development, creative efforts in mechanical engineering and allied areas. So number of ways, there are 4, 5, 6 POs I have written, which covers almost all the skills. And you can always go through any of these 2, 3, but not more than 3, I would say. Electronics and communication. Now, electronics and communication. So I'm just trying to show you the various options. Whichever branch you belongs to, you can have a good, POs. And please understand all 6 attributes. All these are short statements. These are not replica of PO. It is the number should be manageable. It should show professional and career competency only. The electronics and telecommunication. So when it goes to electronics and telecommunication, the educational objectives of electronics and telecommunication engineering program are designed to produce the competent engineers who are ready to contribute effectively to the advancement of electronics and telecommunication engineer causes and to accommodate the needs of the profession. The graduate shall identify, define, solve the problems in the field of electronics and communication. I would consider this to be not a very good PO, because again, this to solve the problem is one of the PO. Employ necessary techniques and tools for advanced engineering application, engage themselves in research and development, and to take up higher education. Partially true, partially I would say the advanced tools, everything is part of PO. Use their skills in ethical and professional manners to raise satisfaction level of, again, I would say no. So all these from wherever, whichever college is adopting, I would say it is not very encouraging. They can always write good practices about good POs in the field of electronics and communication. Electrical engineering. So I would consider the electrical engineering to be the educational objectives of electrical engineering program are designed to produce competent engineers who are ready to contribute effectively to the advancement of electrical engineering causes and to accommodate needs of the profession. And the graduate shall the practice electrical engineering in general disciplines of generation, transmission, and use of electrical power. Now, what graduate shall do after 3 years or 5 years of graduation? So I tried to write it down that yes, either he will be in the generation or transmission, or he will be in the use of electrical power. Satisfy the needs and requirements of stakeholders and the society through development of unconventional power resources. So what he will do, he will try to satisfy the needs and requirements of stakeholders and society through development of unconventional power sources. Pursue the higher education and work for research and development during professional career. This is also possible. So generally, and again, I have given number of statements. If you can see, the develop the skills and proficiency in the core areas of electrical and related multidisciplinary engineering fundamental. Instead of the we can use exhibit also. They demonstrate the technical competence to tackle the problems in the field of industry with emerging technology, innovation, entrepreneur. I would consider the electrical engineer as on today. A lot of ample opportunities are there to be entrepreneur. So the electrical engineer should have capability to tackle the problems in the field of industry or the emerging technologies, innovation, and entrepreneurial skills. He should pursue higher education. Higher education you can always write in the Indian context, because most of the students after doing graduation, they go for post graduation, so they can pursue higher education initial 3 to 5 years. The percentage is very less, you know, if after 5 or 10 years the students or the any individual wanted to go for higher education, so they wanted to have a education in continuation. At the most, after 2 years they'll take up some work ex and they will join. So based on that, I have encouraged, and I generally advocate that the higher education can be one of the PEO, looking at the attainment side as well. So this covers at large, you know, most of the PEOs, and then the most popular branch, which must be as on today, is computer science. So what can be the PEOs for the computer science? That also can be taken up. Meanwhile, you can start writing your questions if you have. That will help me to understand also the feedback about the points which I have considered so far. So I have considered so far, you know, how the vision to be framed, how the mission to be framed for the university, for the department, and then what you mean by PEO. So PEO is basically the program objective, program educational objective. It gives you information about what is the objective of having that program in your university or the college, and what graduate shall do after 3 to 5 years. So definition of, and what is the checklist for the to check whether we have drafted correct statement or not. Coming to the PEOs of the CSE department or the computer science and engineering, I would say to engage with the leading global software services and the product development companies handling projects in cutting edge technologies. So the student after 3 to 5 years will be engaged with the leading global software companies and product development companies. Now, if you don't want product development companies, you can remove. I have written that to be product development companies. Then engage in the technical or managerial roles at government firms, corporate startups, or contribute the society as a successful entrepreneur. So if he has not joined any software industry, then he can be at the technical or managerial role at government firms, corporate. So I have given all options. And the third is undertake education, as I said, and research and or academia at the institution of transnational reputation. So this covers everything. This is about all about PEO, and we'll go back for the again to our this diagram from where we started with. This pyramid diagram is very, very important. I generally advocate this diagram. Everybody has to understand. If you need to understand the outcome-based education, this gives you complete information about outcome. Now, there is a question, what is the difference between PEO and PO? So let me cover PO also, and then I will ask you this question, whether you have understood what is the difference between PEO and PO. So PEO is, again I'm repeating, program educational objective. It means the students what they shall able to do after 3 to 5 years of graduation. Now look at this pyramid diagram. This pyramid diagram indicates the complete outcome based education. So at the top of this is your mission, the mission of your program, the mission of the university or mission of the department. Now, if mission of the department, because if it is achieved, the mission of the university will achieve. If you can see, the design of the curriculum or design of the program is top down. If you can see this diagram, this shows design of program is top down. You have defined mission first. So initially vision, then mission. Then you have defined PEO. Then we will go for PO and PSO. Then finally we'll derive course outcome, and it will give us designing of program curriculum. As on today, dear audience, what we are doing is exactly opposite. We already have our curriculum and we try to see, oh, program curriculum is with us. Can we write outcomes for that? Can we see the program outcome is attained? Can we write PO? So we are going just opposite way. Where it has to be top down approach. We have vision, we have mission, we have PO defined, then POs and PSOs to be defined. POs are fixed over here, then course outcome, and then we go for program curriculum. And meanwhile, for PEO, you are taking stakeholders input, means constituents, they give your input, they give you input whether what qualities needs to be part of PEO. And for curriculum also, the stakeholders can give the inputs. While checking whether we have accomplished our vision or mission, it is the bottom up approach. We have program curriculum. We will check whether COs for through individual subjects have been attained or not. If course outcomes are attained, we will check what is the status of the program outcome. Once it is done, we will check what is the attainment of the PEO. Although it is not being asked now by National Board of Accreditation, but we can always see what is the attainment of PEO. And finally, we can see that yes, our vision is accomplished or not. So while designing, you have to go top down, and while achieving, you have to go bottom up approach. Please remember, this diagram is very, very important, which is available everywhere, but has to be understood correctly. If any question is there, I can always take up for this. So difference of PO and PO, I will tell you when we will cover the POs as well. But as I said, the POs are program educational objectives, shows the professional and career competency of the graduate after 3 to 5 years, wherein program outcome is a one of the graduate attribute, and it shows the qualities at or during the graduation. So it is not necessary at the time of graduation. So at the time of graduation or during 4 years, what are the attributes which every individual should satisfy? So any questions I can take up so that I can move further as well. Otherwise, we'll go ahead. So now, if I go for graduates outcome or program outcome, so then we'll go to probably PSO as well. So before going with the program outcome, please remember this mapping has to be done. As I said, consistency always. So institute mission, the department mission or the school mission, and your PEO statement. Are they linked? Are they on the same line? This exercise you can do at your level. There are number of slides which I have devoted for calculation of PEO as well, but then that's I think that would be beyond scope of today's workshop. So let's go for program outcomes. Let me come out to the program outcome. Yes. So program outcome, the students outcome, which are described what students are expected to know or be able to do by the time of graduation or the end of the program, that is nothing but program outcome. So I hope, Mr. Vishwajit, I have made it clear. Students outcomes that describes what students are expected to know or shall able to do by the time of graduation or by the time of end of the program, that is program outcome. But what they are supposed to do after 3 to 5 years of graduation, that is your PEO. Now, outcomes enable attainment of PEO. So if there are no outcomes, program outcomes, you cannot expect PEO also, because they have not done the minimum attributes of the program. These program outcomes, please, dear audience, remember, doesn't matter you are from a topmost institute, you are from a central university, you are from a private university, wherever you are, whichever program you are, but then that is supposed to be the same. The graduates outcome for all engineers across the countries will be same. So graduate attributes or the program outcomes needs to be same. Now outcome means what? So basically, outcomes is a skill which is expected out of any end of the any process. It is also defined as an achievement from the output. It is competencies, capabilities a student will develop over the period of times at the time of graduation, you may say. These outcomes may not be branch specific, as I said already. These are irrespective of branch, irrespective of institution, irrespective of university across the country. Those are going to be same. In fact, the ABET has also defined, but then India has a few more additional graduate attributes. Otherwise, it would have been same across the world. There are, I mean, that's just the change of words, I would say, and some additional outcomes which India has defined. Always remember the dimensions of program outcome, because later on we will see the evaluation and attainment of program outcomes. So we need to understand what kind of outcomes are there. Basically, there are three kind of outcomes, program outcome, we would say. One, knowledge outcome. So knowledge outcome is basically you can attain out of, you know, the 40 subjects of engineering which you are learning over 4 years, or if you are in a non-engineering program, accordingly 3 or 4 years of graduation, whatever you are learning through your subjects. So fundamental cognitive content, the core concepts, the foundation of any subject, the basic principles of inquiry, all that you will be learning. That would give you knowledge outcome. The other one is skill outcome. The capacity of applying knowledge, analyzing, synthesizing information, communicating, collaborating, all skill outcome. You have learned some skill. You can do the patenting, you have a good analytic skill. So all skills which you are good into, maybe artificial intelligence, you are good into CATIA, you are good into design of any software, synthesis of any software. So you are good into, you have acquired some skill, that is skill outcome. And then attitude and value outcome. How is your attitude, personal, social, values, ethicals, principles, ethics, all that would give you attitude and value outcome. So all, and the fourth one is behavioral outcome. How is your behavior? So basically these four outcomes are, these are the dimensions of program outcome. All 12 graduate outcomes which you have are can be divided into knowledge, skill, attitude, or behavior. And then these are known to everyone. I'll just repeat in short that what are the program outcomes. So the program outcomes which are being listed as, you know, or the graduates attributes: engineering knowledge, problem analysis, thereafter design and development of solution, conduct investigation of complex problem, modern tool usage, select an appropriate tool. Students must able to use the appropriate tool. The engineer and society, generally we should have concern about the engineer, and there should be concern about society as well. A small example I would give you. Suppose the it was said once upon a time that the BlackBerry mobile was having the highest radiation which was coming out of, and then the radiation India has, otherwise also we don't have the norms as well for controlling that radiation, how much radiation should be allowed from the mobile. And so while designing the any gadget is fine, but then that gadget should not affect somebody's health is also a concern about society. So society's health, society's safety, all that has to be understood. Environment and sustainability. Understand the impact of engineering or technological solutions in the societal and environmental context, and then demonstrate knowledge of and need for the sustainable development. That is what the PEO statements which were used, there were some statements which have made use of words like environment, sustainability, sustainable development, all that I have removed. So those words have been removed from the, those cannot be reused while drafting PU. Next, the ethics. So understand and commit to professional ethics and responsibility and norms of the engineering technology practice. So it is being said, like, if any engineer would do the compromise, it will lead to lakhs of and thousands and then hundreds of lives. So we need to ensure that the every professional or every engineer would understand the importance of ethics and will not surrender or will not compromise that at any point of time in his or her life. Individual and teamwork, we have seen number of attributes as a program outcome. Every day we come across that somebody would say, I cannot come work with ABC. So, or the project group is not correct. The every time the final year students or third year students, when some project is being given, they have some issues. So, are they able to work in a team or not? Most of the time, the students are supposed to work in, when they join the industries, they are supposed to work. That is a teamwork. So, it has to be that whether the students are able to work individually or in a team. Communication, it is very very essential that every student should able to communicate properly. The graduate must have, and communication, it will not be only communication. So whether all four skills, whether reading, writing, presenting, so spoken English, everything is known at least in the one of the language. I won't say as on today that it has to be English, but the student or the graduate shall able to communicate. So communicate is important. How and which language is not important. So communicate effectively on broadly defined engineering activities with the engineering community and with society at large, being able to comprehend and write effective reports, design documentation, make effective presentation, give and receive clear instruction. Very very important parameter. Doesn't matter how good your pointer may be 9, but you are not able to define, you are not able to write a simple report, you are not able to present what you have learned, you are not able to give a report of just maybe some taste reports, or maybe some new apparatus has come up, so you are not able to understand neither the operation, or you are not able to learn give the instructions to your juniors or subordinates as well. So it is very very important that communication skills must be taken care of at the time of graduation. Project management and finance, it's very very important that every engineer, it is being said that engineers are very very poor in finance, so they must know how to do the project management and finance part. They must demonstrate knowledge and understanding of engineering management principles and apply the same to one's own work as a member and leader. Then lifelong learning, last but not the least, lifelong learning. Everybody should able to recognize the importance of and must have lifelong learning. If you can see the digital education on today, it also has mentioned the lifelong learning capability, that students must have lifelong learning capacity or the capability. So almost all have been taken care of. I think 2, 4, 7 and 10 and this 12. So this gives you idea about, if I go back to the pyramid, so going back to the pyramid, it will give you idea about, we have seen so far the setting up vision and mission. We have defined the PEO, again 6 parts, 6 steps which we have talked about for defining the PEO. It should not be restatement of any of these 12 words which we have just seen as a program outcome. The PEO should be small statement, it should attend to the professional and career competency. Then it goes to program outcome and program specific outcome. Program specific outcome, I'll be taking up some examples what you mean by program specific outcome, and then we will take up course outcome, which is the last part of this today's session, and then some, if time left, time is there, then we can have program curriculum design as well. If it goes some examples of PSO. So program specific outcome, the program specific outcome is nothing but program specific outcomes. So it has to be for electronics engineering, suppose we are taking, so program specific outcome is nothing but the special skill which everyone should know and which is not part of any of the program outcome. So the PSO says electronic system design, so develop the real-time application using printed circuit board and integrated circuit. So every electronics engineer should have a capability that they should design, they should able to design real-time applications using printed circuit board and integrated circuits. Second outcome, there could be one PSO, I would say maximum two. So the first thing is what you mean by program specific outcomes. So program specific outcomes could be maximum two. One is also sufficient if you feel that would give you a skill which is very, very essential, which must be known to everyone, and lot of efforts have to be taken for that. The communication system development, the students of electronics engineering should able to develop the communication system and applications using IoT, AI and machine learning algorithm. Now this one skill itself will you have to teach the students IoT, AI, machine learning, and then they will able to design the communication system. So please remember, these are some examples. It need not to be the same, but it can be on the same lines. Can I get some feedback as well? So, Vishal, if some questions can be taken up, probably it will help me to understand whether they have understood or not. So, dear audience, you can write down, your questions on the screen for PSO. If you have design, you can your PSO you can share, and then we can discuss on same as well. Now, this is for mechanical engineering. The students are trained to perform tasks related to students are trained to perform the task related to the conversion of mechanical system to automatic system, integrating mechanical system to IoT and cloud-based technology. So basically for industry 4.0. So for mechanical engineering, your PSO could be for industry 4.0. The students are practiced to use the augmented reality, virtual reality using different CAE tools for rapid prototyping and additive manufacturing. So you have to design. You can have only one as an PSO, or you can have various, you can take both, or you can have your own PSO as well. I just tried to write down the latest industry trends in form of PSO. So IoT, Industry 4.0, or CAE tools, and so on. For electrical engineering, so this is for electrical engineering. Electrical engineering PSO is like demonstrate their knowledge in analysis and design of industrial drives for utilizing renewable energy sources. So demonstrate their knowledge in analysis and design of industrial drive for utilizing renewable energy sources. For utilizing renewable energy sources. Second, developing the sustainable solutions for electrical engineering problems using machine learning, AI, and IoT. As you know, right now in NEP also, it has been mentioned that every one, whether it is engineering, technical, non-technical, everybody should come out with, applications of AI, machine learning, IoT, data science, and so on. These are buzzwords, and the future technology is going to be surrounded by the same. And I have used that in last few years. So I have written that as a part of PSO, that electrical engineers must learn AI and should use that for the various applications. Coming to CSE, the PSO could be, again, apply all skills related to Industry 4.0 to various real-time problems in multidisciplinary domain. So it is for to use, apply all the skills and requisite to Industry 4.0 to various real-time problems in multidisciplinary domain. And then another one is demonstrate engineering practice learn through industry internship to solve the live problems in the various domains, because everyone is doing internship. So when they are doing industrial internship, they should able to demonstrate the engineering practice, solve the live problem. So everybody should work on live problem. That was also part of PSO. So these are some sample PSO in case anybody. Okay, so there is a question which we can take up. PSO is just pass out students or after 3 to 5 years? No, PSO is for graduating batch we are talking about. So at the time of graduation, PO and PSO must be accomplished. So PSO and program specific outcome and program outcome must be accomplished at the time of graduation. Wherein PEO is program educational objective, which shows your career and professional competency after 3 to 5 years. There is a difference. Any other question, please, so that then we will move to the CO, because then it is going to be little on Bloom's taxonomy. So I would say if we can take up some more questions on PEO, PSO, PO, vision, mission would be great. So okay, so right now there are no questions, so I can go ahead with this. Generating LOs, so learning outcomes using Bloom's taxonomy. I've just shown the Bloom's taxonomy. So Bloom's taxonomy for 6 levels: recall, examine, apply, analyze, evaluate, create. If revision is done. So the next would be course outcome. Now, look at this diagram, which will show you. This is again outcome based education, and this will give you the importance of course outcome. If you can see, we have defined vision, we have defined vision, we have defined mission, we have involved stakeholders, program constituents for framing program MSET. Program MSET means PEO, program educational objective. Then from program educational objectives, we have graduates attributes. It means program outcome, and then we have course outcome. Recall the pyramid diagram, and while having evaluation, as we have said, for checking the attainment, we check first course outcome. So we check the course outcome first. If this course outcome will attain program outcome, and if program outcomes are attained, we get in program MSET. It means attainment of PEO. So right now, this is the diagram, which is a closed loop feedback always. You will evaluate the course outcome. If there is a feedback, any assessment, anything which is not being achieved, you will be getting the gap analysis. If program outcomes are not attained, you will be assessing that, and you will be getting analysis, and you will be getting gap analysis. If PEOs are not attained, you will be getting again the gap analysis. Going back to the important slide, and then I will show you how the course outcomes to be designed through an Excel file. So the course objective versus the course outcome. These two terminologies, again, lot of confusion is there, that whether what is course objective and what is the course outcome. So now the course objective defines what teacher wanted to teach. Now you have defined your vision, mission, PEO, PO. And then for your subject, you want to define course outcome. So course outcome is known to you. What is deliverable is known to you. How you are going to teach that is going to be the course objective. So course objective defines teacher what to teach, helps the teachers to teach from skills acquired by students' achievement of objective or not. Wherein the course outcome is what student shall able to demonstrate at the end of the course. So course objective is how the teacher should teach, wherein the course outcome is what student shall able to do after learning that particular subject. what he shall able to demonstrate after the end of the course. It must be out of these four abilities which we have discussed: knowledge, skill, attitude, ability. So it must be out of these four. It must be measurable. You cannot have course outcome without measurable. And then it should begin with all the Bloom's taxonomy, the 6 words which we have. So 6 levels: write, solve, apply, create, all those words must be used. So, dear audience, I tried to explain you the 5 terms. Now I am going for curriculum development, how to design, how to come up with course outcome and curriculum design. So, please remember that the difference between the course objective and course outcome. Again, just in nutshell, PEO, program education objective. It shows the aim of the program. It shows what graduate shall do after 3 to 5 years of graduation. Program outcome, what students or graduates shall attain at the time of graduation. Program specific outcome, the program specific skill which they learn and they demonstrate at the time of graduation. Course outcome, what student shall able to demonstrate or learn at the end of the subject or course. That is the in nutshell, and then remember the pyramid diagram which we have. The pyramid diagram says how the pyramid shall move. So it is top down while designing, and while checking the attainment, it is from bottom up approach. So with this, I'm going to shift, I'm going to stop sharing this file and going to share the file wherein you will learn how to design the curriculum as well. Till that time, you can put up your questions in the chat box. So Vishal, is it visible?
Yes, it is visible, ma'am.
So now, if I can show you, this is for computer science and engineering. Considering that is as a largest community, I can show you how from program outcome we can derive the course outcome, and then finally we can derive the subjects as well. So if you can see, the first program outcome is engineering knowledge. So apply knowledge of mathematics, science, engineering fundamental, and the engineering apply specialization to a solution of complex engineering problem. If I can see here, can we divide this program outcome into number of sub program outcome? Again, this is my own way of dealing with outcome based education, how you can reach out from program outcome to course outcome and finally curriculum. So this is, you have first program outcome. Can I divide that into number of subjects? So the first subject is apply the knowledge of mathematics, apply the knowledge of basic science, demonstrate the knowledge of engineering fundamental, and then apply and demonstrate the specialized engineering courses knowledge to a problem. What can be the performance indicator? So the student shall able to, you have to visualize. If I can divide this one statement into 4 different statements, what is being asked, and then what are the performance indicators? The performance indicators are apply fundamental engineering concept to solve the engineering, apply computer engineering concepts to solve the engineering problem, how it tries to provide new capabilities, it apply the fundamental subjects knowledge has to be applied to the field, like what are the fundamental subjects. So I just try to list down fundamental subjects of computer science like discrete maths, graph theory, calculus, probability, linear algebra, Boolean algebra, and so on. Identifies the processes, models, algorithm of a computer based system. Can students do that? Can the students do that and identify the parameters to solve a problem? Can they identify and assemble and evaluate the information? Can they use usage of the various techniques such as brainstorming, attribute listing, etc.? Identifying the parameters to evaluate the available solution to selected the best problem. Based on that, can we identify some topics which will be learned, which will be which these this column C would indicate to accomplish this? Can we? Yes, students should have a knowledge about combination matrix. Students should have a knowledge about probability and statistics. Students should have a knowledge about number series, Boolean algebra, set theory, arithmetic operation, mathematical operation, and so on. So knowledge about mathematics, when I say apply the fundamentals of discrete maths, graph theory, calculus, probability, linear algebra, I can list down all the topics. When it is coding, so I can write down all linear, the coding part, what they need to understand, linear codes, rational algebra, the algorithms, code design, introduction to programming, and so on. And based on that, I can identify, I can combine similar topic, dear audience. Similar topics can be combined in form of one subject. So I have PO, and from PO I have derived the subjects which students will be learning. So if I do so for all 12 program outcome, I will have at the end my complete syllabus, at least the list of 40-50 subjects I will be getting. I can see the overlapping, and if I remove that overlapping, I will have a list of subjects which are to be taught to the computer science engineers to accomplish this 12 program outcome. That is in nutshell. I have these sheets for every program, for computer science, for mechanical, for electrical, and for everything. Again, I am repeating. We'll go through the PO2. The problem analysis: identify, formulate, receive research literature, and analyze complex engineering problem, reaching substantiated conclusions using first principles of mathematics, natural sciences, and engineering sciences. So if this is done, problem analysis. Now for this, can I decode this into number of sub PO? Now this could be formulate an engineering problem, identify the key issues. Are we able to identify the key issues? Are we able to identify the review the research literature? Are we able to identify, formulate a solution plan or methodology? Are we able to compare and select the alternative solution to select the best method out of few? Are we able to execute the solution process and analyze the results? So if we can do that, then probably, so this is a PO2. I have divided this PO2 into number of issues, and then based on that, some performance indicators. Identify the problem related to mobile operating system. Can the comparison of various memory management scheduling techniques, can the students do that? Can the deterministic and non-deterministic approach for the problem solving? Can the design framework and analyze the computing requirement for the low energy motors, and so on? I can identify. And to study and to reply that, can I list down the subjects and then topics at least? And from these topics, can I conclude and come up with the subjects? So I got in another set of subjects. Maybe some are repetitive in nature, some are new subjects. When I go for third, design and development, so then again that is related with the programming. And then for programming, what you need to have is, I can write down the programming which I want. So data structure needs to be there, the object-oriented programming or the C, that can be. Conduct investigation of complex problem. So for complex problem, what needs to be learned? So classes, objects, inheritance, polyformism, all that I can list. And what needs to be learned is Java, data mining, cloud, and you can add now Python as well. So that can be there. Modern tool usage. Create, select, and apply appropriate techniques, resources, modern engineering and IT tools, including prediction and modeling to complex engineering activities with the understanding of the limitation. So now here, modern tool usage. So what are the modern tool usage? I need to list down, and finally I can come across some of the subjects which can say data structures, algorithm, data analytics, software engineering and project management, AI, machine learning, database system, high performance computer, cloud computing, and so on. The engineer and society apply reasoning informed by the contextual knowledge to assess the societal health, safety, legal, and so on. For that, analyze the interaction between the different aspects of engineering activity, and social and environmental impact analysis. I can design sub PO, and finally from sub PO, I can come up with some of the issues like hacking, cyber security, cryptography, and many others. When it goes to environment sustainability, again, I can come up with e-waste management, in industrial economics, green computing, green communication, energy efficient. So all these subjects can be offered. Ethics. So when it comes to ethics, apply the ethical principles and commit the professional ethics and responsibilities and norms of the engineering practice. I can come up with some of the subjects like computer and internet crime, privacy protection, and so on, which can be part of ethics or cyber laws. These subjects can be introduced. Then individual and teamwork. For that, projects, seminars, mini project, minor project, industrial and project internships, social internships, hackathons, team building activities, debates, group discussion, all these activities should be part of your curriculum. So that can be introduced in the at suitable position. Then it goes for good communication. One of the graduate outcome is it should have a good communication. So for good communication, again, we can come out with what can be sub POs, and then we can explain also soft skills, spoken English, paper presentation, and so on. So that can be again introduced in your 4 years scheme. Project management we already have, but then in project management, exactly what is to be taught? So we can have product demonstration, product engineering, software architecture, and so on. And then last is lifelong learning. Lifelong learning is adopt new learning technology. You can give them maybe report writing. You can give them the students are appearing in competitive exams. Students are appearing in writing research paper. They are writing some patent. They are reading out some articles. They are deliberating. All that is lifelong learning. They are adopting new technologies, and that's all lifelong learning. So all new technologies can be part of this. So all these subjects, if you can see the E column would indicate, dear teachers, if I can have these E column, if I can remove the overlapping, this gives me the syllabus of my university for computer science and engineering. This you can do for mechanical, this you can do for civil engineering, and similarly you can have the same for all the branches, for everyone. And that is nothing but we started with vision and mission of the university. We tried to develop PO, then we have defined POs are common for everyone, then we tried to define PSO, and finally from POs we tried to derive our curriculum. And there has to be a relevance between PO and PSO also. PSO cannot be what we think, but again, it has to be linked with PO, it has to be linked with vision and mission of the university. Suppose there is something which is known as innovation, and then we don't have any subject related to innovation. The PO do not reflect this thing. So we can have some subjects on IPR. That can be a skill. You can introduce that as a part of PSO. So now I can take up some questions. That's it from my side for these explaining the 6 parameters: vision and mission of the institution, vision and mission of the department, PEO, PSO, program outcome, and then course outcome, and finally how to design the curriculum. This is a 7th parameter. But I can take up some questions if those are there. So means PSO should contain whatever is not in 12 POs. Exactly, that is a skill. So that is different than graduate outcome. Then, ma'am, slide by slide, you are covering various research areas. Thanks. Can you please discuss PO12 in detail? Okay, lifelong learning. So I would say lifelong learning could be in anything. I mean, the student is appearing for competitive exams, so he's learning new areas, lifelong learning. He's in the industry and the technology has changed. He is adopting to the new technology, so he has lifelong learning. He has to adopt, he has to learn some new theory, new concepts, and then he is okay with that. That's a lifelong learning. So everybody should have a lifelong learning skill. Student is appearing in GATE examination. He is writing research paper. All that exhibits, lifelong learning skill. Some private colleges may appoint some consultancy to prepare vision mission. What is your response? No, I would say, Mr. Vishwajit, no one should apply any consultant. This is all you need to derive. It's a wonderful exercise. I did that at least 100 times with many people and for my own institutes as well. And that shows, it's a beautiful concept. OB is a process which needs to be followed, and it should not be done for only getting accreditation, but it has to be implemented to build up the beautiful system in the institution, and to find out your own gaps, and to close those gaps through the process, through the scientific process. So I would say, please write it on your own: vision, mission, PEO, POCO. It may take up some time, but then that would build up the teamwork as well, and everybody needs to be involved. This is from my side. So, Vishal, from my side, I have done. Thank you so much, Professor Huda and Mr. Vishal. I tried to cover all 6 concepts. If there are more questions, I can take up the questions as well.
No, I have attended this excellent talk. You have delivered it fabulously well. You have also shown that what cannot be a correct PO or cannot be a correct PO, and what can be a correct one and why it is not. And rightly said that if we appoint consultants, probably college will get accredited, but the teachers always will remain at the same place, and the purpose of entire accreditation system will be lost. So whether it takes more time or less time, that of course depends upon the efficiency of the team, but the team themselves must do that. And in order to do themselves, they may invite experts and take help of experts, and first understand but do themselves. Not that someone else will do on their behalf. If they themselves will do that, first they will own it. Second, they will know how to. So then attainment will be better. Thank you so much, ma'am. If participants have got some questions, they can unmute themselves even and ask question directly to the ma'am. Dear participants, if they have a question, you can unmute. This is the exact philosophy of outcome-based education, that while designing your entire program, let's start from your vision, go down to select papers in your program curriculum. But when you are coming up for understanding to which extent we have achieved it, then you start from the program curriculum, because the implementation, the delivery in the classroom, the actual assessment process, the evaluation process, the understanding level, and the capability of the graduates, that will tell to which extent we have been in a position to implement it. So it starts from bottom. It's a bottom-up approach to understand that to which extent we have implemented it, and always it's a top-down approach. Unfortunately, because India has started it late, so we try to synchronize our existing curriculum with the NBA format. But as and when you get opportunity to design a new curriculum, it starts from your vision and go down to your fundamentals. Fundamentals means your exact courses, which courses you are supposed to take in, which courses are going to contribute to your overall achievement of the vision, and which courses are not contributing. That all will be coming once you do this exercise. So participants must do that exercise on their own. If you have any question, unmute and please ask to them.
Sir, I think all questions are answered during the sessions, so there are no pending, sir.
Right. I will ask you one thing to explain once more. You said that in PUA statement, lifelong learning we should not mention.
No, in PEO, I just said that it should not be repetition of PO. So there are six, a checklist of 6 points I have done. Like it should be a broad statement, the number should be manageable, it should not be the restatement of PO, and so on. So many a times I have seen that it is
the
most
replica of mission.
So that is what I say. It should not be used. Ethics, lifelong learning, those are all parameters should be learned at the graduation level.
Right.
Yes. So thank you, sir. Thank you so much sir, for giving
Excellent.
us
We'll
it was
meet
really
day
good.
after tomorrow. We'll meet day
Yes,
after
sir.
tomorrow for a much more interesting topic again related to this outcome-based education.
Yes,
And
sir.
thank you so much to all the participants. Now you can do some homework. And when you are attending these sessions, these are very important sessions. Believe me, without accreditation, 3 years down the line, you won't be in a position to survive, whether you are in government or you are in private. And particularly the new education policy is phasing out entire affiliation system. Once the affiliation system will be phased out, then the bottom line of the survival will be accreditation. What the government has proposed in the new education policy, that all the colleges should get accredited. Based upon the accreditation level, the marks obtained in the accreditation, they will get autonomy, graded autonomy. Based on the kind of the autonomy which have been given to you by the agency, then you will be in a position to enjoy the freedom. So if as a college we want to survive, we have no option but to believe in this philosophy that we have to have the outcome-based education and we have to go for accreditation. So even government institution, private institution, university department, standalone colleges have got no option at all but to believe in this philosophy. And particularly when a new education policy has also allowed that top 100 institutions of the world, top 100 universities of the world will be permitted to open their campuses in the country. Once they will be opening the campuses in the country, their delivery mechanism will absolutely be different what we are doing today. So this implies that before they come and put forward a challenge before us, we should be ready to take up the challenge head on, and we should tell, yeah, our delivery mechanism, our program curriculum is no way inferior than any of the universities in the world. Let it be anyone, number one, number two, or number three. So that challenge we have to accept, and if we accept that challenge, we will survive with grace. So there is an opportunity and there is a threat. So let's take this opportunity as a threat, move forward. So for all the teachers working in higher education, technical education, I will say that even in a school education, accreditation philosophy has become a bottom mark. Thank you so much, and thank you so much, ma'am. We'll meet again day after tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Bye, sir.
Ma'am, there is one more request, ma'am.
Yes.
Can you please share the PPT, ma'am, to share with the participants because they have to write the assignment from you. The PPT.
I will give handout, sir. I will give handout.
Yeah.
Please.
Right handout in 3 slides per page PDF.
I will
and
do.
send it for sharing. Thank you.